Hi guys, justice.pixelz or Isaac here, and today I am actually doing an editing tutorial as many people have requested this from me. So without further ado, I'm going to head into this tutorial. This is Vegas 14 I'm using, but of course if we're using a program like Vegas 15, any updated program would do. I'm not too sure about the previous versions of Vegas below 14. These are actually presets which you can download in the description. It's just already have them loaded up, and one of them's the shot and one of them's the pump, which is pan and crop if you're not aware. You guys probably should know all the basics of Vegas, like how to cut clips, like how to place markers. If not, just look it up on YouTube, it would be pretty simple, but I'm here today just to show you how to edit Call of Duty clips, more specifically trick shots, because that's what I'm best at. So the first thing you want to do is you want to find a song, and I've already found a song, and I'm just going to drag it so it's closer to the main beat, as you can see by the waveforms. So I'm just going to do that, and it should start about here. Okay, so that's my song so far, but the first thing you want to do is you want to place the markers where the pan and crop and velocity syncing will be. So there are obviously the first two beats, and I'm just going to speed ahead and do this. Okay guys, so I've placed all the markers which I am going to sync to. So now you want to drag in one of the clips, and I might just do this affection shot. Just delete the audio because we won't be needing that obviously, and disable resample, always remember to do that. And now I'm pretty sure this clip's quite long, so I'm just going to zoom out and go to where he starts going for the shot, which should be about, I don't know, about here I reckon. We can always change that in the future if it's not correct, but I'm just going to stick with this. So you want to zoom in enough so you can see all the markers clearly spaced out, and you want to right click on a clip, insert, remove envelope, and then velocity, and it will pop up with this green line. It could be a different color for you depending on your preferences and settings, but you want to right click on this little square point, and you want to set to 67 velocity. I mean, depending on what you, I don't know, it could like vary the speed, but I normally just work around 67% for an average, and I either like upper that or lower it depending on like this, I don't know, the song or the type of beat I'm working with. But for now I'm just going to stick with 67. And to do velocity syncing is fairly simple. You just want to double click to create a point, and you want to drag the first point up, and you want to right click and change it to a fast fade. So for beats like this, you want to double click on one side, double click on the other, and you want to double click on the marker, so it's like an arch, it's like a shape, like an arch. And for the line coming in, you want it to be a slow fade, but on the beat you want the one coming down to be a fast fade. So if I show you this so far, it may not look brilliant so far because we have to work with what we have. See, that was a bit too fast. So what you want to do if it's too fast, or you could probably assume what you would have to do if it's too slow, but you want to drag the 2 points inwards and move the top one down. So just realised that maybe the shot will not sync up, so I'm just going to extend the clip by dragging it forward, and when this little thing pops up, you just drag that backwards. So see, that looks kind of good so far. I just need to do these markers. It's just the same procedure as we went through before. Was that even the right word to use? I don't really give a shit anyway. So it should be enough room for the muzzle flash now. So you just want to cut the clip where the muzzle flash is and drag it into the marker, the beat which you want the shot to be in, and you want to create a fast fade. On the other side, before the shot, you want to drag that up and create a slow fade. So let's watch it now. See, I was a little bit too fast, so I'm going to drag that down. See, that was good, but it just didn't have that like oomph, you know what I mean? So just try to slow it down a little bit more. See, that was alright. I'm just gonna upper it a little bit more. Sometimes it may look weird. Yeah, that's why, because you need to leave about 10 frames before the shot normally. Well, in my opinion, I don't know, it depends. But see, that did look better. The flow is there as well. See, that was good in my opinion, but don't expect this edit to be amazing, guys. Alright, I'm just showing you like how I do it. Like, obviously, if I was sat here doing a proper edit, I'd perfect it, but always remember to save your project, guys, and create backups if you have a crashing problem, which I tend to do. So I'm going to do that really quickly. This is my project file, and I'm just going to copy it just in case anything corrupts or something. This is where these come in. So this is the shot, and these are the pumps. So what you want to do is you want to right click and you want to copy, and you want to zoom in a little bit so all the markers on the clip are spaced out, and you want to press S on every marker so that it's all split up like that. Right click, paste event attributes, and you can see a difference already. Like it's sort of like I don't know, it may look low quality, guys, but that's only because I have this on preview half. I can change it to full quality if I want, but it would just slow my Vegas down, and because I'm recording, I don't really want it to be not watchable. So as I was saying, you want to paste this on every beat, near enough, except from the last one, which is the shot, which is where that other preset comes in. So for this one, you want to copy the red one like that, and this is where the complicated part comes in, guys. If that wasn't complicated enough, just watch closely, okay? So what you want to do is you want to click on the pan and crop symbol, which looks like that, and you want to do this for every beat. Okay, so for the first little marker here, you want to copy it, and you want to drag this one back about that much, and you want to press Ctrl V to copy this, and you want to change this to fast and this one to slow. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but when it's about to hit the next beat, it zooms into it, so there's more flow, and it looks much better. And you just want to do this for everyone. Sometimes that last beat is already there for you, depends how long the beat is, but you just want to change that to slow, back to fast. And for the little beats, sometimes it won't work. Okay, this is a perfect example, but what you want to do is you want to create a new marker by pressing the plus. You want to restore this one, and you want to change that to slow, and you want to paste, change that one to fast, like that. Alright. This is the last one I have to do, so bear with me, guys. Alright, sometimes it doesn't work, even on the long beats, so you just want to do the same. and sometimes it pastes over it and it's like really weird, but it should look okay either way. Now you want to go to the first beat, which actually you want to go to the first beat, and you want to go back on the pan and crop, and you want to change this to a more zoomed in. I don't know, you want to make it more zoomed in, and you want to go about this far away, and you want to change it to fast, and you want to zoom out about that much. So now if we watch this, I just want to preview render it. If you select the area, press, it didn't do all of it, but I'll show you some of it. Let me preview render the rest, so it shows the shot as well. That looks pretty good so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a CC. So what you need for this is you need a few plugins, and the main one, while it's loading, I'll just explain. So there's many plugins you can install for Vegas. There's Sapphire plugins, there's Boris Curriculum, I don't fucking know, but it's more known as BCC. And there's alternate ones as well, like RSMB and like Film, which is the one I'm about to use. So you want to install Film. I'm sure there's tutorials out there. I'll try link one in the description if I can find one, but before I got Film, my CCs weren't too good, and I'm really glad I got explained what Film is. And I have many presets here. You may recognize some of them, like Pez and Clip of the Week, Civil War 9, my Danger Introducing. I don't know, it's just many, but what you want to do is you want to drag it on the whole track where the clips are. So you can see a change already, but just change this to best full for now, so you can see the CC and it's like best sort of quality. And you want to fuck with all of these settings really quickly to fit the song. So my song is sort of like a colourful blue sort of, I don't know, that's how I imagine it anyway. So you just want to go through these, try to find a good one. I mean, that could work. Yeah, let's do that. And then color temperature, you can change it more blue. Turn the saturation up. Actually, I'm not sure if I do like this so far. Turn the contrast down a bit. Okay, I think that CC is good so far, but I'm just gonna add a few extra things. So what I do is I add a bit of glow. It's called, I have a preset called CC, and these are the settings. Glow percent is 0.050, intensity is 1.088, and then suppression is 0.490, and the color is just white. And what that does is it just adds a bit of, it makes all the whites pop a little bit more, as you can see. And the next crucial thing is magic bullet looks, and you may have to install this separately as well from all the, I don't know, most well-known plugins you can get. And you want to add it to the whole track again, and you want to press edit, tools, you want to go to matte and then diffusion, and that also adds a little nice effect to the CC. And for the main, I mean for the final part, you want to add a bit of sharpen, and I normally put medium. So I think that CC looks pretty good so far. I mean, I might change some things towards the end, but let's change that back to preview half. Now is the most exciting part for me, is the effects. Alright, so what you could do to make it pop is you want to, well, you don't have to do the effects I'm doing. It's just, I'm going to add a bit of glow on the first beat just to make it pop, you know. Let's turn the threshold down a bit. Let's do that, and then let's do that. Alright, so now when it starts, it's like a little bluey tint, like that. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of shake. This is Easy's preset, but I like to use it anyway. These are the settings. Pause if you want to have a look, but I just add motion blur, and if I keyframe the amplitude and do that, it would just make it look a little bit better because it has a little shake effect on the first beat, like that. Okay, so on that little beat there, I want to add something which makes it pop, you know. So what I could do is I could add something called tritone, BCC tritone, and there's a lot of presets here. You can mess around with the settings and all sorts, but I'm gonna turn the mix with the original up a bit. You can mess around with the midpoint. So I mean, that looks kind of cool. And you can keyframe the mixer original, and I want it to end about there, and do that. Alright, see now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new video track, and what that is for is just extra stuff over the top of the clip. So I'm going to drag it down below the song. I'm just going to save it really quickly. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to media generators, and I'm going to search solid, and the firework just went off. I'm going to get the black solid color. I'm going to put it here. Now this may look a little bit weird. I mean, you can disable resample, but I don't really think it makes a difference, to be honest. So after this first beat, I'm going to make it sort of fades to black, but turn the opacity down so it's not all the way to black. Right, let's have a look now. So it does that, and it starts to fade out, and then it comes back on, like that. Maybe it can start fading a little bit later. Right, let's see. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy and paste this, and I'm going to go to the front of the black, and I'm going to go 3 frames forward like that, and I'm going to zoom all the way in, and I'm going to do that pretty much. And I only do this with specific beats because you'll see why. Just watch once it's preview rendered. You see what I mean? It just adds a bit of pop. Well, I keep on saying pop, but like, I don't fucking know. Alright. Okay, for this next one, I'm going to do it again, but a little bit more. And I wouldn't overuse this subtle effect. It's not really an effect, but it's more of like something, I don't know, but I wouldn't overdo it because it can make the edit a little bit frustrating to watch. So I've noticed there's not a lot of tension coming up to the beat, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change the velocity on this marker here, and I'm going to change it to 40, I'd say. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a shake preset, which sort of creates more tension, I'd say. It's very, I know it's weird, but I call it creepy because I did originally use it in a video, and then I noticed how good it could be executed within an edit. So I was like, you know what, oh fuck it, you know, I'll do it. So what you want to do is, don't be a dickhead like me, and you have to press the keyframe button on the amplitude, which is the primary effect, or the primary sort of thing you have to edit. And you want to go to the end B, obviously, because you want it to build up to the effect. And I'd say about here, you want it to start, and you want to press the add keyframe button. I can't talk, I'm sorry, but I've got fucking cramp and it's really annoying, and you just want to change it to 0, and make sure it's on 0 on the first beat as well. And what you want to do is you want to change the little circle at the bottom. Change that to a slow fade, and change this to a fast fade. Oh god, change it. You want to change that to a fast fade, and you want to turn the amplitude down a little bit. I'd say just look at these settings if you get confused at any point. Like that. Let's just have a look. See. See, it didn't really look as good as I wanted it to, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to turn it down a little bit. By that I mean quite a lot. And actually I'm missing something. I'm going to drag this back a little bit further. Right. Alright, so what I'm going to do is on the shot, I'm going to add a little bit of flicker. Because I normally save all my like quite cool effects for the Killcam, because it's slowed down and it's more precise and you can work with it a little bit easier. But I'm going to add this preset called Mad, and I'm going to turn it all the way up. You just have a look at these settings right here, but I'm going to keyframe the amplitude again, and I'm going to go about here, and I'm just going to set it back to 0. It's just so when the shot hits, you can see it just adds a little bit of flicker, you know. Sorry, I was getting a bit carried away there, but you can see what I mean. I'm just going to add a little bit of shake really quickly, just because it's a beat and you want it to, you know, they're kind of cool, man. Let's have a look then. Alright, so I'm just going to watch all the syncing and everything without the effects. So as you can see, that's a little bit better. I'm going to add something called Twixtor Pro right now, which is another individual plugin you have to download. So you want to put it on this individual part of the clip where the shot is, and you want to keyframe it. First of all, you want to change this to 120, and there is a simple way of doing it. You just change this to a slower point. This acts like a velocity. The first part is quite fast, middle's average, and then it speeds up again to end the clip, and much like I have with the velocity here. But Twix is a little bit complex because it adds something called warp, which makes your it just makes it cleaner. I don't know. Many After Effects editors use it overall for syncing, because they don't have velocity. They only have time I can't remember, but it's that and Twixtor. So I'm going to change this to 90, so it gradually becomes slower. If I go to the middle of the clip, I'm going to change it to about 60, and then I'm going to change this to 90, and then back to 120 or 125. I'm going to try 125, but it's up to you really. So as you can see, it adds a little bit of warp. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So now for this last bit, you want to add something. Wait, before I do that, I'm just going to create another copy of my preset, because we're going to be using quite a temperamental effect, because it is quite well known for crashing your Vegas. It's called VCC lens blur, and I use it in transitions quite a lot. I'm going to add it on my clip, and the first thing you always do is you press the keyframe button, the animate button, and I'm going to place a marker and set it to 0, and I am going to change this back to 0.40, and this, all the settings are here if you're curious, and I'm going to set this to 0, so it has a little bit of it on the shot as well. Right, let's just wait. Oh no. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And now I'm going to add something else to my pan and crop for the transition. So you want to drag, there should be like 2 little markers here, but if there isn't, just create a new marker and make sure it is restored to its default, I don't know what you call it, but change it to slow and change this one to fast, and you want to zoom in. I only do this on the pre-cams, but you can do it on whatever. You can turn it a little bit, you can do whatever, but what I tend to do is I make sure it's in front of the Twixtor, because Twixtor affects everything below it in the video event. So you see here, if I drag that all the way to the start, it'll affect the pan and crop. But as you can see in the preview render, it's zooming in. Now we've edited the first clip, and something I forgot to do is, let's just save it really quickly. You can add a little bit of lens blur on certain parts of the edit, which make it more, I don't know, it just makes it more enjoyable in my opinion. But don't do it on every beat, please. Don't do a fucking Team Dev Pumas edit, right? But what you want to do is, on these parts where I've blacked out the edit, it's normally quite appropriate to add lens blur because it's not as visible and it doesn't hurt your eyes as much. And feel free to turn it up a little bit, because why not? And surely by now you know how to keyframe effects. If you don't, just go back, keep on watching. This is what this tutorial is for, you know, just to help you out a little bit. So, right, let's just do that. Always remember to save your project as well. Right. And what I might add on this final beat before I do the kill cam is I'm going to add something called multi-tone mix, and I'm going to add the default preset for now, and then I'll edit it. So as you can see, the song sort of symbolizes happiness and like colourfulness and fucking everything like that. So I want these colours to be quite colourful and bright. So I'm going to change this yellow to more of a bright, nah, not that much, but I'm going to change it to like a bluey sort of, I don't know, sometimes it clicks off like that, but I'm going to change this to more of a darkish colour. And I'm going to turn this up a little bit and mess around with the midpoints. Okay, that'll do for now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a key point here, turn it to 0, I'm going to do another one, turn it up a little bit more, and then turn it back to 0. Now what this will do is it will just create a little nice on and off effect, along with the flicker. Has too much, I don't know, it's too powerful, the shot, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. See, that looks kind of cool now, so I'm going to save it, and I am actually going to do the kill cam now. So I'm going to find where the kill cam starts. Well, not starts, but at the part of the shot where I want it to start. So it doesn't always have to be at the beginning. Like, I could start around here and then I'll work my way from there. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to disable everything other than the clip right now, and we're back to the basics. We're just doing the markers, alright? Right, that'll do for now. Here, I'm thinking we could add a cinematic, so... Nah, actually no. But you could put a cinematic here. It's mostly on the parts which don't have many beats next to each other, like this. Has a long gap and could be handy for a cinematic. Same thing. The velocity's already put on the clip. You just want to set it to 67. It's at 57 at the moment, so I'm just going to change that slightly. And what I do with the Killcams is I change this from 1000 to 1200 or 1.200. So it just speeds it up a little bit. Not too much, it's easier to work with. And for the Killcam, the velocity is roughly the same. It's just you have to work with it a little bit differently. You'll see why. It's just mostly because the Killcam. I'm just going to do all this really quickly because I don't want this tutorial to be too long. Alright, so the flow has improved. I'm just gonna... Okay, so as you can see, the flow has improved. I'm probably gonna edit it a little bit. But just go to the muzzle flash, do the same thing as you did before. Alright, I wasn't too sure where I wanted the beat then, but I've decided, and I'm just going to get rid of this marker. So. Alright, that's where it ends. I'm just going to add a bit. Alright, so that looks good so far. So what you want to do now, I've got cramp in my ass, fuck. Okay, so you want to enable the CC again, and you want to do as I did before with splitting all of the markers one by one, alright? And you want to go back to the beat preset, which is this one, the pump, and you want to copy it and paste event attribute on every one again, alright? The only difference is you have to, because it copies every aspect of that preset I've given you, you have to just go back and change the speed again to 1.200. Unless you haven't done that in the first place, which is up to you, but for me, I need to redo this. Otherwise, it won't be synced, and I think I just fucked it. Yeah, alright. Just want to go back, and I don't think I even pasted it. Alright, so what you want to do now is you want to go back as I did before, and you want to... oh, fuck. Alright, you want to copy the first beat again, or the first keyframe, and you want to paste it on the end. Change this to slow, make sure it's its default thing, and then change this to fast. And you just want to do this on every one, really. what you want to do now is you just want to do the transition from the pre-cam to kill cam as we did before, where you zoom this in a bit, create a keyframe here, change it to fast, and zoom it out. And now from here on out you can add blur, you can do whatever, just make sure to save your project once in a while. You can add a bit of the shake preset as I showed you earlier. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add this, as it's quite a long sort of beat, so I'm just going to preview the end of this so I can see the transition quite clearly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some extra effects which I do. So the first thing you want to do is you actually want to save the film preset for your CC. I'm just going to name it Tut, as this is a tutorial for me. Click the save button. Now why I said this is some effects you can't just put on and keyframe them so they disappear. So you want to copy the part of the clip you want to add the effect to, and you want to find your film preset and then go, I named it tutorial. You want to drag it onto this specific copied clip, and you want to search for an effect called Time Warp RGB, and that's a Sapphire plugin. So you want to put it on the clip. See all this like colourful shit? Yeah. So you want to split the clip around here, and you want to create a fade out offset onto the clip like that. So now if we watch it, it's like yeah, you'll see. And I'm also just going to add a little bit of lens blur. Sorry, yeah, the music interrupted me, but I'm just going to add a bit of lens blur. To the you can actually do the same for this, the end of the clip as well. You want to cut it about the middle. You want to delete that first part, and you want to do as I said before, where you add your film preset to the clip about there. And if it's like a really long effect, you may want to add the other things you added to your CC when you made the CC. Otherwise it may look a bit odd, like the bit of glow and the magic bullet looks. Diffusion, and then the last part was sharpen. It really depends on how big the effect is and how it would affect the CC. So now I've done this, the effect I want to do is actually just an extended film effect, which isn't, I don't know, I just want to turn the vignette up a little bit, and I want to add something called S tritone, which is like a black and white thing, and I'm going to change the this so it's like darker, and then I'm going to mix with source about like there, I'd say. And I'm also going to add a hue change. So if you just type in hue, and if you keyframe the hue, oh, I can't talk. If you keyframe the hue shift and place a keyframe at the end and just drag this all the way here, and then create a fade in offset. See, that looks pretty cool in my opinion. So yeah, I'm also just gonna add what I did for the last clip as well. Well, not the last clip, but the pre-cam. Is I want to add a bit of that preset which like creates tension. I'd say it's called creepy. I'm about to, but yeah, it's right in front of me. All right. I'm gonna keyframe this as I did. So I'm gonna change this to about 0.050. Oh, I don't word it. Alright, 0.0. Yeah, there you go. I want to change this to slow. This one to fast. And then close. And then. Alright. Alright, so as you can see, it wasn't very effective, so I'm going to change it a little bit by changing this from 0.050 to 150. Alright, let's see how that looks now. Alright, so that looks pretty good. And one last thing I want to add is flicker. And I'm going to change this to mad and turn that up a little bit like that. Alright, right. Now we gotta edit the shot. We're almost finished with this edit, guys. Just want to add a bit of shake to it. I want to turn it up quite a lot because the tension was quite like heavy. Keyframe it. Do that. Preview render it, which is you drag and then shift B. I don't think I've mentioned that. That's a bit of a... As you can see, that shake looked kind of weird, so I'm just going to try and modify a bit by moving that back, and then I'm going to gradually make it go away instead of just making it go away all at once. Right. So as you can see, it's like... See, that looked a bit better, didn't it? So, alright, let's add some rays. S-rays, which is like a pretty cool effect because it does that. So let's turn the rays length like, or like, I don't know, like that much I'd say. Brightness, just keep it around there, and then threshold, which is quite important. I know, yeah. Keyframe the brightness or threshold, it doesn't really matter, and then drag it to about there, and then turn the, no, not the threshold, sorry, turn the brightness down all the way. Hopefully that looks pretty cool. Alright, so as you can see, there's like a like, yeah, like that sort of sound, and you want to find where it starts. So it starts here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something pretty cool with the shake effect, which isn't only used for shake, but is used to improve pan and crop in a separate way. So you want to turn the amplitude down, you want to turn the frequency as low as it can go, you want to turn motion blur on, and the thing we're using is called Z-dist. And the reason this is so cool is because you can, I'll show you, just create a keyframe on the marker, and I'd say go back about, okay, I don't know what just happened there, but if that does happen, just do that, and go about 3-4 frames back, and make sure, actually no, go a bit further back, so I'm going to add a slow fade into a fast fade, and you want to make it so it zooms in like that, and right before it, I don't know, just do that, and then I know you'll get the hang of it. It's just, I'll explain it once I've shown you it. yeah, that did not turn out how I wanted it to, so there's just... See, that is more like how I wanted it to look, except the zoom out is a little bit too much, so let's change that. So that effect is called Z-dist, and what I've done is I've mixed the amount of Z-dist with the slow and fast fades, so it looks more smooth in the transition. I don't know. So that's why I've created multiple keyframes, so it gradually moves and then back to 0. Alright. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add Twixtor and lens blur to the transition. So the difference is with this, it's still 120 and everything, except blend becomes motion weighted blend because it's Killcam, and you don't really have to worry too much about how fast and how slow. It's just create a key point in the middle and change it to about 70, and then go right to the end and change it to 125. Now that should look pretty good. Now I'm just going to add a bit of blur. Alright, now I'm just preview rendering it just to see how it would look. See how clean that looks? It looks so cool. Alright. So one more thing I'm going to do is I'm again going to use the effect multi-tone mix. And there are a lot more effects I can show you in a separate video if you want to learn those. But I actually like this preset. I think it would work well, so I'm going to stick with it. But I'm going to go about here. I'm going to press the keyframe button, and I want it to start about there, and then on the marker I want it there. Alright, so for it to build up the effect I need to set this to mix with original to 100, and then I'm going to set it to about there, and then back out again. And then back in again, and then for the final part all the way to mix. Alright, let's see how that looks now. See, like this adds some extra stuff, which is cool. So what I'm going to show you now is how to use overlays really quickly, and that'll be the end. I'll just add black bars and sound effects, which you guys probably know how to do. So yeah, let's add a video track. Make sure it's below the audio track so we can see what we're doing quite clearly. And I've got an overlay folder. I'm going to link an editing pack in the description for you guys. I'm going to give credit to Pumas really quickly because without him I wouldn't have all this shit. But let's just add overlays. Alright, a few of these are mine, a few of these are his. So let's have a look. What overlay could we use? Let's just add this one because this may look pretty cool. It may look stupid at the moment, but the most crucial part is you need to change this to screen. And I'm going to make it stop around like there. Alright guys, so the final thing I'm doing right now is adding the gun sounds, and that's all I need to do really. If I just go to BO3, it's a folder, all of this will be in the description, so don't worry. So he uses the SVG. If you just drag that in, if I just disable the CC really quickly. If you zoom in, you notice it doesn't actually start the shot, and so you just want to sync it up like that. See, that's way too loud, so you just want to turn that down, and maybe the volume down a bit. See that it doesn't really sound too good, so I'm just going to try to fix it a little bit. Alright. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add something called the swoosh sound, which many people don't actually use anymore. Swoosh. There you go. Right. So how this works is it's just a little build-up sound. Let's just quickly do that. Didn't really sound too good there. You might want to turn the opacity down on the sound, which makes no sense, but that's how it works. Alright. Just want to do it about there. You also may want to do it in like as a transition between pre-cam and Killcam. Okay guys, before you render your edit, which I'm about to start doing, is you want to add RS&B to your edit. I have Prez's preset, which I'm going to use. These are the settings, and make sure it's above every other effect at the top. And also put it on this track as well, as we have made some effects using RS&B. So this is where you have to render the edit, guys. I'll quickly show you my render settings. Oh, fucking hell. Alright. You want to change this to 25 instead. The variable bitrate, I mean, this is pretty good, but I'm just going to change that to 20 and then 28. Right, that should be good enough, and I'm going to change this to 1080p. Alright, best, and then tutorial. Alright, and then you just click render, and that's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It's pretty shit, to be honest, but I mean, I'm not very good at explaining things. Hopefully you guys can understand, but please leave a like and subscribe. My main channel will be in the description, along with everything I used in this edit. I don't know if I will link with clips, but I'll try if I remember. But all the gun sounds, all the overlays, the preset which I use for the panic crop, everything will be in the description. And I'll try to link some download tutorials for all the plugins I used. So, see ya.